Right, let's move on then. We've got to get to TKO and more TKO greed, because you mentioned the 4 PLEs, 4 matches on the PLE, so how can we not bring that up? So WWE, and yeah, I know I did a video on this as well, but WWE has been running more discounts for tickets for WWE shows, which surely says one of two things or both. The shows aren't exciting enough to get fans to buy enough tickets, and or the tickets are too expensive.
So, before we go any further, the WWE ticket sales have been an issue now for like the last 15, 20 years, honestly. Okay? They've always been expensive, but now it's just like, wow. Are they trying to make up for lost revenue, Because they might be. During the pandemic, they lost, I'm sure, a lot of money. Remember, everyone was on video screens in the audience. Imagine that. So, think about it. This is a reaction. Make sure to subscribe to the Stevie Richards Show. Links in the description. If you're ready to rock, comment ready to rock. 3, 2, 1.
And that Raw from yesterday, as we record this, started off hot. It was an exciting start to the show. Then Bronson Reed gets injured, kills off the momentum of the entire show, and there's not much of any reaction whatsoever. I mean, that also being, there were 3 matches across 2 hours and loads of backstage promos.
Wait a minute,
they're doing the
3?
No, there were 4 matches, I should say.
Okay, the perfect mix.
Over 2 hours, 20 minutes, or whatever it was. But there are so many backstage promos where they're doing the AEW thing of where they're just filming it wherever they can, and it doesn't look professional, which is really annoying. But also, just the pacing's all wrong, and they killed the audience for the rest of the night until AJ Styles came out. And then, so WrestleMania, as we also know, less tickets being sold, although it needs to be said, $66 million generated last year, so it's an all-time record, so they'll still make tons of money. So
yeah, okay, $66 million for what event? Okay. I don't think anybody's complaining about that, at all.
TKO jacked up the price of the tickets again, even more of a rip-off than it was last year, quite frankly, and some reasons tickets more of a rip-off, of course. Las Vegas is more of a rip-off than last year. It isn't the territory days anymore. You can't just keep running the same city over and over again, even if it's a tourist city. There's little indication of what the WrestleMania card is going to be, even now. And now Bronson Reed's not in. We've got even less idea what the card's going to look like. And there's very little change from last year, and it's in the same venue. So you've kind of already seen it for the most part. So it's a lot of different reasons. So WrestleMania did or Allegiant Stadium posted a 25% off deal, I think maybe around Valentine's weekend or a long weekend or something with a code. And then they shut it down early. And I'm assuming this is a fact that no one was buying the tickets with 25% off. So I guess they just shut it down early.
Because, I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like I just waste my breath on here because I say the same shit over and over and over. Wrestling is not what it once was, and basically can never, at least on the mainstream stage. Okay? Wrestling is still freaking awesome in the indies. Okay? They're still giving you that ECW feel. I mean, I go on YouTube and I'll watch freaking backyard wrestling down south or something, down south in America, and they're not South America, but, the south of the United States. I should have said that. Those guys are hitting people with cars in the backyard, dude. You want to talk entertainment? Sometimes I got to turn it off because it gets too intense. Even when I'm on Facebook, because the algorithm will, I watched one wrestling video and then it recommends a million, which is fine. But it shows me clips of people wrestling in, high school gyms, gymnasiums. And it's great. You don't get any of that. None of that excitement with current modern day wrestling. You just don't. You just don't. But maybe I'm crazy.
Because,
Wow.
Why bother?
Because you look at the seating chart even for Elimination Chamber, and you're like, my God, it's at the time you were looking at it, was 35% of the floor seats are still like empty for Elimination Chamber, which is how many weeks away? Well, it's this Saturday.
Which means, yes, 4 days as we record this, yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, this video was from. That's a funny picture. There was. This video's a little older because obviously Elimination Chamber has already happened, and I did not watch it. Surprise, surprise.
How do you go back? It's kind of like other prices of other things. Once they get raised, how do you bring them back down without, I don't know, feeling like you gave up or you made a mistake? These
Right.
corporations can never make a mistake and revert back to the previous prices.
But here's the issue with it, is that you can always just drop the prices down a little bit, but you have to open with those prices.
Right.
Because people are getting wind of this. I make videos on it quite often these days, because it's a rich vein and there's always something else to talk about. Other people do videos on this as well. Why would you buy a ticket to a Raw or SmackDown or whatever it is 3 months in advance, or 4 or 5 months in advance, whenever they announce it, when you know, because they're doing this for Raws, they're doing it more for SmackDown, they're doing it for WrestleMania, you know they're going to discount those tickets. So if you buy tickets straight away, you're a sucker, because they are discounting these tickets constantly. So all that does is make the people, the early bird buyers, feel like idiots
Right.
for spending full price when there's going to be a discount later on.
Yeah.
And it also makes people wait until the last minute to buy tickets in the first place. So that's why you...
But also keep in mind, there are apps like the Game Time app where you can buy tickets day of. You know, you could buy tickets right before if you really wanted to. You know, when I went to the Blink-182 concert at Madison Square Garden in, what was it, 2023? Was the Blink concert 2023? Right? When we went to that, there was a guy named Freddie that was sitting next to me. Really cool guy. And he told me that he had just bought the tickets that day for like a fraction of the price. And they were good seats. Where I spent like $600 on each seat for my girlfriend and I. And he got it day of for a discounted price. What's the point of ordering it early? You know, if you could just get them day of.
need to price it more reasonably so there's a steady buy-up of tickets.
And get really good seats, too, keep in mind.
Until the event time.
Well, I couldn't have said it better myself. That's the way you run a business. But apparently, TKO thinks of a different business model than you do. Like you said, and here's your thumbnail. It's your fault. The fans' fault for everything. And now we are going to punish you. We're not going to make it affordable. We're not going to make it to where people talk about it. It's the greatest deal in town with the greatest form of sports entertainment. We are going to now do blackouts for Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania. And then
yeah.
they're gonna show up. I'm sorry. I'm gonna finish with this point. Well, this more of a question for everybody to comment on, and you, if you could give me your opinion. Could we have empty seats or tarps at WrestleMania, and would TKO get the memo and start to change what they're doing?
I think right, when you've got people like Bruce Pritchard who say, hey, I remember when we had 12 matches a show and it was terrible and you didn't remember anything. It's like, what a load of crap. You've just made up. Aside from the fact that pay-per-views for the most part did not have that many matches on. Some of the old WrestleManias did. But for the most part, they had like 8 or 9 or something. So what Bruce Pritchard has done has made up a scenario in his head and then argued against it using flawed logic. It's like
an argument. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's an argument that didn't exist.
Yeah, there's no straw man argument because he's wrong. We just talked about it earlier. Even with me with all the concussions and everything. Didn't I just rattle off like 3 or 4 matches from WrestleMania 8 and moments and things that happened? Didn't we talk about Brett knowing and Brett winning the title against Yokozuna at WrestleMania 10? Don't we joke about, no, Brett, it's your belt at WrestleMania 9? So the last time I checked, all of those had way more than 4 matches. But you also know what they had? They had more than 4 storylines. They had more than just this little nucleus of people that have, the main event, whatever, everybody on the show contributed some from what's considered to be the bottom first match to the main event.
Yes, exactly what Stevie is saying. Because years ago, there were basically however many matches there were, that's how many storylines there were. Okay? So if you had 12 matches, you had 12 different storylines going. That's what made wrestling interesting, is that you really got into the stories. They were written well. It made you invested. And a lot of people say, well, back then they really had a lot of stupid moments too. Like Mark Henry and Mae Young giving birth to a hand. That is the first thing everybody that is their go-to when they try and compare how bad wrestling is now to then. Okay? Not even a comparison. Was that a stupid moment? Oh yeah. Absolutely. That was so dumb. But it was funny. It was funny because it was so dumb. Now, because the audience has changed and everyone gets upset about everything, and I'm not trying to get political here, but everyone gets upset about every little thing that is said about everyone, and someone's always offended, okay? People are offended for being offended, okay? So, the fact of the matter is this. It will never be as good as it used to be because the audience has changed and there are a bunch of complaining people that are offended way too easily.
I even remember the Hart Foundation opening up SummerSlam against Tully and Arn, and the way they just morphed from the opening with people eating ice cream and on the beach, and then the music just hit, and here comes people on their feet. Goosebumps.
Right.
So you're telling me that I'm an idiot, nobody remembers anything, even the dumb guy that has post-concussion syndrome doesn't remember. Whatever.
Yeah.
Keep.
Well said, Stevie. The fact that you remember that in such detail is unbelievable. It goes to show that the writing was good, the cinematography was good, it was shot well, okay? You nailed it. I couldn't tell you what happened last week on Raw or SmackDown or Saturday night's main event or whatever.
Keep living in your bubble.
Well, it clearly is a bubble because once again they're inventing arguments and then getting them wrong. I don't get this four-match PLE thing. I don't get it. This is the stupid
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm just fired up. This is the idiotic corporate thing. He might as well have said flywheel and synergy at the whatever corporate speak, quiet quitting or whatever. I'm all beside myself with the stupid, and now it is.
It is.
You fans are wrong. This is perfect. You're the one that sees it as not good.
Vince used to listen to the fans. He did. Okay? When Vince McMahon listened to the fans, gave them Stone Cold, gave them The Rock, gave them Kurt Angle, okay? He was listening. Okay? It was after WCW was purchased and there was no competition anymore that Vince got very weird. He was like, let's tone down everything. Remember when they made the no blood rule and then Batista violated it and got sued or got fined like $30,000 or something? It happened in 2006 or 7 or whatever. I wasn't watching them, but I heard about it and I knew it and I think I saw the clip. But, no blood? Ric Flair used to bleed every match. Do they allow bleeding in wrestling now? I know AEW they do. Thank God they have that. But do they allow it in WWE now? I don't even know the rules.
Whatever, man.
So, to explain that, Stevie did mention Blackouts. So, WrestleMania, they are blacking out, watch parties and broadcasts in, public areas that people can gather. Because their theory is that if you can't watch it in public, therefore you'll be more happy to drop $800 minimum to go watch WrestleMania in Vegas, right? So, with Vegas, instead of $800, this is for the fence sitters, like the 10 people who'd be like, oh, should I watch it in a bar? Should I, go to the show? But for everybody else, pretty much everybody else suffers. And my opinion is going to be stopping people from going Vegas at all. So if you can't watch WrestleMania or make an evening of it, aside from going back to your hotel room, you might as well just stay home if you're really intent on watching that show.
Stop.
But then Elimination Chamber, they are now doing the same thing. And the reason is because a year ago, Elimination Chamber in the Rogers Centre in Toronto, I believe, they sold 37,500 tickets there or thereabouts. Buoyed up by John Cena, of course, and then, they didn't know he was turning heel there, of course. They thought, oh, we must do 38,000 or something like that this year. And they've only done less than 15,000, best we can tell.
Whoa.
And because they are not shifting tickets still, even a few days before the show, even though Raw's happened and SmackDown happened as well, they are now punishing the local fans in the Chicago area by doing blackouts for public displays there, might you say, as well. Because, hey, well, if the fans, you're not going to buy the tickets, we're going to punish you. You're not allowed to watch this in public. You either need to stay at home on your own, or you can buy a ticket at $300, inclusive of taxes for nosebleed seats, to go and see the show that apparently you don't want to see in the first place. No.
So, hey, I agree. I agree with James and Stevie. I think personally the ticket sales are way out of control, but they're trying to make up for lost time and lost money from the pandemic, I think. I am not a financial advisor. I don't know about that stuff, but that's what it kind of seems like. They took a major hit, like a lot of sports, did. So you tell me, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure you're subscribed to the Stevie Richards Show. His link's at the top of the description. And if you enjoyed this, you made it to the end, so click subscribe. It's free, I mean, I know you know how to subscribe. You're not stupid, right? So subscribe, hit the notification bell, and let's just see if we can hit the 1 like goal. Just 1 like, everyone feels involved. So until next time, keep watching that wrestling. We'll keep reacting. And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you. Subscribe.